Hello, this is Dr. Ned Hallowell, and welcome to Distraction. Today we have a mini episode in our series of mental health checks that we're doing each week as the pandemic continues to roll along, and we all, like it or not, roll with it. Today, I want to describe a phenomenon that I call the world of instead. We're all living in a world of instead. Each day we have to think up, dream up, discover, create, improvise insteads. The most obvious one being you stay at home instead of doing whatever you used to do. Go to work, go to school, go to the store, go to the movies, go to the restaurants, go to the hair salon. Whatever you may have planned to do, you have to do something else instead. And this is posing quite a challenge to our ingenuity and imagination. But, ingenuity and imagination are qualities we Americans are famous for, as well as those of us who, like me, have ADHD, which is not a deficit and not a disorder, but a trait, and an abundance of attention, not a deficit of attention. The challenge is to control it. In any case, in my world, in my practice, I've discovered Zoom. I barely ever used Zoom, and now to see patients, I can't see them in person, so we tend to use Zoom. And there is a special Zoom that is HIPAA compliant, and so it's secure and safe. That's how I'm seeing patients instead. Some of them prefer the telephone or FaceTime, but most of them I see on Zoom, and that's my instead. It turns out there is something called Zoom fatigue. There's something about that medium that is more tiring than in-person conversations, and so I'm learning how to deal with that. But then there are all the other insteads. Where do you eat instead of a restaurant? How do you get your food instead of shopping regularly as you used to? Do you order in? Do you have deliveries? How do you get your mail? Well, that still seems to be delivered. How do you get your exercise? My wife, who is an absolute gym rat, can't go to the gym. So she's built the gym in our living room, and she runs around the living room and is doing burpees and jumping jacks and squats every other day from our living room. So instead of the gym, she has our living room. Maybe the most challenging instead is the question of employment, and if you don't have an obvious instead, it's pretty dismal. Those people who can't work and don't have a skill that they know how to market in order to generate income. That's pretty oppressive, and my only solution that I can offer is not to worry alone, to talk to other people, to brainstorm. Don't hunker down in isolation. Try to reach out to other people. You don't know what you're reaching out for other than a connection. And in that crucible of connection, new ideas will spark. Guaranteed, new ideas will spark. And you may find, as a photographer client of mine found, another way of generating business. It is in using your imagination that you will find a vast array of insteads. Necessity is the mother of invention, and we're all up against it now. Necessity is asking us to really create some useful insteads. And that's a silver lining. I know it's sort of Pollyanna-ish to talk about silver linings in this difficult time. But I think that is a genuine silver lining, that we are, of necessity, being asked to dig deep with our excavation tool called imagination. And the beauty of imagination is you never know what you're going to find. It's like Forrest Gump said about the box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get when you stick your finger into one of them. So stick your fingers into your imaginations. Stick your fingers into that box of chocolates and see what you can come up with. See what insteads you can come up with. We'd love to hear your roster of insteads, and we will absolutely devote a show to reading them and talking to you about them. So if you have some insteads, send them along. Email us at connect@distractionpodcast.com. That's connect@distractionpodcast.com. It'll be a wonderful show if we can collect a bunch of your favorite insteads. What do you do today instead? Well, that's it for me for now. Distraction is created by Soundscrape Media. Our recording engineer and editor is the inestimably wonderful Pat Keogh. And our producer is the brilliant, delightful, and extremely imaginative Sarah Burton.